It's 2 a.m. and you're staring at the ceiling. Your body is exhausted, but your mind won't stop. You're replaying that conversation from 3 days ago, word by word. You're worrying about tomorrow's meeting. You're thinking about what you should have said, what you should do, what might go wrong. And suddenly you realize you've been lying here for 2 hours, just thinking, thinking, thinking. Does this sound familiar? If you're nodding your head right now, this video is for you. Because scientists have discovered that our minds create around 60,000 thoughts every single day. And here's the shocking part. About 80% of those thoughts are exactly the same thoughts we had yesterday. We're literally stuck in mental loops, replaying the same worries, the same doubts, the same fears, over and over again. But here's the good news. 2,500 years ago, Buddha already figured out how to break free from this prison. And today, modern neuroscience is proving that his ancient techniques actually work. In the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to stop overthinking and train your mind to finally stay peaceful. So take a deep breath, because your freedom starts right now. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, this is where we explore ancient wisdom and simple practices that bring real peace to our daily lives. And if you're back again, thank you for being here. Before we start, let's do something together. Take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a moment. Now breathe out slowly. Notice how that feels. That simple act is more powerful than you think. Overthinking is something almost everyone struggles with. That voice in the head that won't stop. The endless replay of conversations. The worrying about tomorrow, the analyzing of yesterday. It's exhausting, and it steals our peace, our sleep, and our joy. But here's the good news. This problem has a solution, and it's been around for thousands of years. In this video, we're going to explore 5 things together. First, what overthinking actually is, and why the mind does it. Second, what this habit costs us every day. Third, the ancient Buddhist wisdom about training the mind. Fourth, 5 simple techniques anyone can use to stop overthinking. And fifth, how to build lasting peace in everyday life. Everything shared here is practical, no complicated theories, just simple tools that work. The best part, you don't need to change your whole life or become someone different. These practices fit into any lifestyle, any routine, any situation, whether you're a student, a working professional, a parent, or retired. These tools work for everyone. If this sounds helpful, hit the like button. It helps others find this video too. And subscribe if you want more content on living peacefully. Now let's dive in and understand what overthinking really is. Understanding overthinking. So let's start with the basics. What is overthinking really? You see, thinking is actually a beautiful gift. When you think, you solve problems, you make plans, you create, you learn. Thinking helps you navigate life. But overthinking, that's completely different. Overthinking is when your mind gets stuck in the same loop, going round and round, and you're not actually solving anything. You're just exhausting yourself. Let me give you an example. Imagine you sent a message to a friend and they haven't replied yet. Normal thinking says, maybe they're busy, I'll hear from them later. But overthinking says, why haven't they replied? Did I say something wrong? Are they upset with me? Maybe they don't want to be my friend anymore. See the difference? One is rational, the other is a spiral that goes nowhere. In Buddhism, there's this beautiful concept called the monkey mind. Picture a monkey jumping from branch to branch, never staying still, always restless, always moving. That's what our untrained mind does. It jumps from one thought to another, from one worry to the next fear, from yesterday's regret to tomorrow's anxiety. The monkey never rests. And neither do we when our mind is untrained. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Modern neuroscience has actually discovered something that proves what Buddha taught thousands of years ago. Scientists call it the default mode network. This is a part of your brain that becomes active when you're not focused on anything specific. And guess what it does? It wanders. It overthinks. It creates stories about the past and worries about the future. This network is literally designed to keep your mind busy, even when there's nothing to be busy about. But here's the question everyone asks me. Why? Why does our brain do this to us? Why can't it just be quiet? Well, the answer goes back thousands of years to our ancestors. Imagine you're living in a jungle. There are predators, dangers everywhere. Your brain's job was to keep you alive, so it constantly scanned for threats. It replayed dangerous situations so you could learn from them. It worried about tomorrow so you could prepare. That anxiety, that constant thinking, it actually kept our ancestors alive. But here's the problem. We're not in the jungle anymore. You're not running from tigers, but your brain still acts like you are. Your mind treats a difficult email from your boss the same way it would treat a real physical threat. It treats social embarrassment like a life or death situation. The overthinking that once protected us has now become our prison. And the tricky part is that overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're doing something important. Your mind says, if I just think about this problem one more time, I'll figure it out. But you won't. Because overthinking isn't problem solving. It's problem recycling. You're not moving forward. You're just stirring the same pot over and over again, making the water muddier. Buddha understood this deeply. He said that most of our suffering doesn't come from what's actually happening to us. It comes from our minds and the stories we tell ourselves about what's happening. The actual moment is usually okay, but we add layers and layers of thoughts on top of it, and that's where the suffering begins. So the first step to stop overthinking is to simply recognize it when it's happening. To catch yourself and say, there's my monkey mind again. There's my default mode network doing its thing. Just that awareness, just that recognition is the beginning of freedom. And that's what we're going to build on in the rest of this video. The cost of overthinking. Now that we understand what overthinking is, let's talk about what it's actually costing you. Because here's the truth that nobody likes to admit. Overthinking isn't just uncomfortable. It's stealing from you every single day. And most people don't realize how much they're losing until they finally break free from it. Let's start with the most obvious cost, your energy. Think about how you feel after a long day of physical work. You're tired, right? Your body needs rest. But at least you accomplished something. You built something. You cleaned something. You moved something. Now think about how you feel after a day of overthinking. You're exhausted, but what did you accomplish? Nothing. You just ran mental marathons that led nowhere. Your energy tank is empty, but you have nothing to show for it. Overthinking drains your mental and emotional energy faster than almost anything else. And the worst part, you can't get that energy back. Those hours you spent worrying about something that might never happen, gone forever. Then there's decision paralysis. This is a big one. When you overthink, you become terrified of making the wrong choice. So what do? You freeze, you delay, you ask for more opinions. You make pros and cons lists. You analyze and reanalyze. Meanwhile, opportunities pass you by. I've seen people spend months overthinking whether to start a business, change careers, or end a bad relationship. And while they're stuck in their heads, life is moving on without them. Buddha taught about the middle way, but overthinkers can't find any way because they're too busy thinking about every possible way. The irony is that no decision is often worse than a wrong decision, because at least wrong decisions teach you something. Let's talk about sleep. How many nights have you laid in bed, exhausted, desperate to sleep, but your mind won't shut up? You're replaying conversations, planning tomorrow, worrying about next month, regretting last year. Your body is begging for rest, but your monkey mind is throwing a party. And here's what science tells us. When you don't sleep well, everything gets worse. Your mood drops, your immune system weakens, your ability to handle stress decreases. So overthinking doesn't just steal your night, it steals your next day too. It's a vicious cycle. You overthink, you don't sleep, you're tired so you have less mental strength to control your thoughts, so you overthink more. Round and round it goes. Now, here's a cost that people don't talk about enough. Your relationships. When you're stuck in your head, you're not present with the people you love. Your partner is talking to you, but you're thinking about work. Your child is showing you something, but you're worrying about money. Your friend needs you, but you're too consumed by your own mental chaos to really be there for them. And people feel this. They feel when you're physically present, but mentally absent. Over time, this creates distance. It creates disconnection. I've seen beautiful relationships crumble not because of big dramatic problems, but because one person was always overthinking, always somewhere else in their mind, never truly here. But perhaps the biggest cost of all is this: overthinking steals your present moment, and the present moment is all you actually have. Think about it. The past is gone. It's finished. No amount of overthinking will change it. The future hasn't arrived yet. It's just imagination. All you truly have is right now, this moment. But when you're overthinking, you miss it. You miss the taste of your food. You miss the beauty of the sunset. You miss the sound of laughter. You miss life itself, because you're too busy living in your head. There's a famous Zen saying, "When walking, walk. When eating, eat." Sounds simple, right? But overthinkers can't do this. When walking, they're thinking about the meeting. When eating, they're worrying about tomorrow. They're never where they are. And this is the deepest tragedy. You get one life, one precious, beautiful, temporary life. And overthinking convinces you to spend it trapped in mental prisons instead of living it. I want you to really feel this for a moment. How much joy have you missed because you were overthinking? How many beautiful moments passed you by because you were stuck in worry? How many nights of peace did you trade for unnecessary anxiety? This isn't meant to make you feel bad. It's meant to wake you up. Because once you truly see the cost, once you really understand what overthinking is taking from you, that's when you become motivated to change. The good news, everything I just described can be reversed. The energy can come back. The decisions can flow. The sleep can return. The relationships can heal. And the present moment, it's always here, waiting for you to come back to it. And that's exactly what the Buddhist teachings I'm about to share with you will help you do. Buddhist teaching on mind training. Now we're going to dive into the heart of Buddhist wisdom about the mind. And I promise you, what Buddha discovered 2,500 years ago is going to change how you see your thoughts forever. So stay with me, because this is where everything shifts. Buddha's entire teaching is built on one core truth: suffering exists, and most of it comes from our own minds. Now, when Buddha talks about suffering, he's not just talking about big dramatic pain. He's talking about that constant low-level discomfort, that anxiety, that restlessness, that dissatisfaction we carry around every day. And he said something radical. He said the root of this suffering is not the world outside you. It's how your mind relates to the world. It's your thoughts, your attachments, your resistance, your constant mental commentary about everything. Think about it this way. Two people can experience the exact same situation and have completely different experiences. One person gets stuck in traffic and spends the whole time angry, stressed, overthinking about being late. Another person gets stuck in the same traffic and uses it as a chance to listen to music, breathe, and relax. Same situation, different minds, different experiences. Buddha understood that we don't suffer because of what happens to us. We suffer because of what we think about what happens to us. This is revolutionary because it means you have more power than you think. Now let me share one of my favorite Buddhist teachings. It's called the parable of the second arrow. Imagine someone shoots you with an arrow. It hurts. That's the first arrow. That's life. Things happen. People say things. Situations occur. You can't always control the first arrow. But then, what do most people do? They shoot themselves with a second arrow. They start overthinking. Why did this happen to me? This is terrible. My life is ruined. What if it gets worse? I can't handle this. That's the second arrow. And here's the truth. The second arrow often hurts more than the first one. The first arrow is the actual event. The second arrow is all your thoughts about the event. Let me give you a real example. Someone criticizes you at work. That's the first arrow. It stings a little, but then you go home and you replay it 100 times. You imagine what you should have said. You worry that everyone thinks you're incompetent. You lose sleep over it. You create entire stories about getting fired. That's the second arrow, and you're shooting it at yourself. Buddha's wisdom is simple but profound. You can't always avoid the first arrow, but you can absolutely avoid the second one. And that comes from training your mind. Now here's another Buddhist concept that will free you. Impermanence. Everything changes. Everything passes, including your thoughts. But here's what happens when we overthink. We grab onto thoughts and we hold them tight. We treat them like they're permanent, solid, real things. A worry pops up and we believe it. We attach to it. We build a whole story around it. But Buddha taught that thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. They come and they go. They arise and they dissolve. The sky doesn't grab onto clouds. The sky just lets them pass. Your mind can learn to do the same. I want you to try something right now. Think of a worry you had exactly 1 year ago today. Try to remember what you were overthinking about last February. Can you remember? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But here's what's true. That worry felt so real back then. It felt so important, so urgent, so overwhelming. And now, it's gone. It passed, just like clouds. Most of what you're overthinking about right now, a year from now, you won't even remember it. But today, you're suffering over it. You're losing sleep, losing peace, losing joy. For clouds, for thoughts that will pass anyway. And this brings me to perhaps the most liberating Buddhist truth of all. You are not your thoughts. Read that again. You are not your thoughts. Most people think they are their thoughts. When a thought says, I'm not good enough, they believe that's who they are. When a thought says, I can't do this, they accept it as truth. But Buddha taught something different. He taught that you are the awareness behind the thoughts. You are the space in which thoughts appear. You are the sky, not the clouds. Think about it this way. Right now you can observe your thoughts, right? You can notice when you're overthinking. You can watch your mind jumping from worry to worry. But if you can observe your thoughts, then you cannot be your thoughts. The observer is different from what's being observed. You are the one watching the movie, not the movie itself. This is huge, because when you realize you're not your thoughts, they lose their power over you. They become less sticky, less convincing, less overwhelming. In Buddhism, we practice what's called witnessing. We learn to step back and simply watch our minds without getting caught in the stories. It's like standing on a riverbank, watching the water flow by, instead of jumping in and getting swept away by the current. Your thoughts are the river. You don't have to jump in. You can stand on the bank and just watch. When you do this, something magical happens. The thoughts start to slow down. The overthinking starts to lose its grip. Peace begins to emerge. Buddha also taught that the untrained mind is like a wild horse. It goes wherever it wants, bucking and running without direction. But the trained mind is like a well-trained horse. It's calm, it's steady, it responds to your guidance. And here's the beautiful part. Every single person can train their mind. It doesn't matter how much you've overthought in the past. It doesn't matter how chaotic your mind feels right now. Training is possible. Change is possible. Freedom is possible. The key is understanding that mind training is not about forcing your thoughts to stop. It's not about fighting with your mind or being angry at yourself for overthinking. That's just more violence, more struggle. Buddhist mind training is gentle. It's patient. It's compassionate. You learn to work with your mind, not against it. You learn to create space around your thoughts instead of being crushed by them. And in that space, peace lives. In that space, freedom lives. And that's what we're going to learn how to do in the next section, with practical techniques you can start using today. Building long-term peace. So we've covered the techniques, and those are powerful tools you can use right away. But here's what I want to talk about now. How do you make this last? How do you build a life where peace becomes your normal state, not just something you experience for a few minutes after meditation? Because the truth is, stopping overthinking isn't just about using techniques when your mind goes crazy. It's about creating a whole lifestyle that supports a peaceful mind. Let's start with the foundation, a daily meditation practice. And I know what some of you are thinking. I don't have time. I'm too busy. I can't sit still for that long. But here's the truth. You don't need an hour. You don't even need 30 minutes. Start with just 5 minutes every morning. 5 minutes. Everyone has 5 minutes. Set your alarm 5 minutes earlier. Sit on your bed or on a chair. Close your eyes. Focus on your breath. That's it. Just 5 minutes of training your mind to be present, to be still, to let thoughts pass without chasing them. Do this every single day, no exceptions. Because consistency is more important than duration. 5 minutes every day is more powerful than 1 hour once a week. And here's what will happen. After a few weeks, those 5 minutes will become the most valuable part of your day. You'll start to crave that peace. Your mind will start to change. You'll notice you're less reactive during the day. You'll catch yourself overthinking sooner. You'll have more space between what happens and how you respond. That's the power of daily practice. It's like going to the gym for your mind. One workout won't transform your body, but showing up consistently, that changes everything. Now let's talk about something crucial in our modern world: information overload. We live in an age where we're bombarded with information every second. News notifications, social media, emails, messages, videos, articles. It never stops. And every piece of information your brain takes in, it has to process, it has to think about. This is fuel for overthinking. Your mind is already producing 60,000 thoughts a day, and then you're feeding it hundreds more triggers every hour through your phone. So here's what you need to do. Create boundaries with technology. Decide on specific times when you check your phone, not constantly throughout the day. Turn off non-essential notifications. Maybe don't scroll social media first thing in the morning or right before bed. Give your mind some breathing room. Stop filling every quiet moment with content. Let yourself be bored sometimes. Let your mind rest. The silence is not your enemy. The constant noise is. Another powerful practice is connecting with nature. Buddha gained enlightenment sitting under a tree, not in a busy city surrounded by screens. There's something about nature that naturally calms the overthinking mind. When you're walking in a park, sitting by water, or just looking at trees, your nervous system relaxes. Your thoughts slow down. You remember that you're part of something bigger than your worries. Try to spend at least a few minutes outside every day. Feel the air on your skin. Listen to the birds. Watch the leaves move. Let nature remind you what peace feels like. And finally, practice gratitude daily. This is simple but transformative. Every night before sleep, think of 3 things you're grateful for from that day. They don't have to be big things. Maybe it's a good cup of tea. Maybe it's a kind word from someone. Maybe it's just that you have a roof over your head. What gratitude does is it shifts your mind's focus. Instead of dwelling on problems and worries, you train it to notice the good. Over time, this rewires your brain. You become someone who looks for beauty instead of danger, who sees opportunities instead of threats. Building long-term peace isn't about one big dramatic change, it's about small daily choices that compound over time. 5 minutes of meditation, less phone time, a walk in nature, 3 moments of gratitude. These seem simple, almost too simple. But simple doesn't mean easy, and it definitely doesn't mean powerless. These practices, done consistently, will transform your relationship with your mind. You'll move from being at war with your thoughts to being at peace with yourself. And that, my friend, is true freedom. That's what Buddha was pointing to all along. So here we are at the end of our journey together today. Let's take a moment to remember what we've covered. We talked about what overthinking really is, that monkey mind that jumps from branch to branch, never resting. We looked at the heavy cost it carries, how it steals your energy, your sleep, your relationships, and your precious present moments. Then we dove deep into Buddhist wisdom, understanding that you are not your thoughts, that suffering comes from the second arrow we shoot at ourselves, and that impermanence means every thought will pass if we let it. We explored 5 practical techniques you can start using right now. The breath awareness that anchors you in the present, the simple act of labeling your thoughts, the 5-second pause that creates space, the mindfulness moments hidden in your everyday activities, and the evening mind dump that lets your brain rest. Finally, we talked about building a lifestyle of peace through daily meditation, reducing information overload, connecting with nature, and practicing gratitude. But here's what I really want you to understand. Everything I've shared with you today, it's not just information. It's not just nice ideas to think about. This is a path, a real, practical path that has worked for millions of people over thousands of years. Buddha walked it. Countless monks and practitioners have walked it, and regular people, just like you and me, are walking it every single day and finding freedom from overthinking. The question is, will you walk it? Because here's the thing, you can watch 100 videos about swimming, but until you get in the water, you won't learn to swim. Knowledge without practice is just entertainment. So, I'm asking you, I'm challenging you, pick just one technique from this video. Just one. Maybe it's the breath awareness. Maybe it's the evening mind dump, whatever speaks to you. And commit to trying it for the next 7 days. 7 days. That's all. Give yourself this gift. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which technique you're going to try. Share your experience. Tell me your struggles with overthinking. Let's build a community here of people who are committed to peace, who are training their minds, who are choosing freedom over suffering. Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If this video helped you, please hit that like button. It helps more people find this content, and more people deserve to know they can break free from overthinking. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because every week I share more Buddhist wisdom and practical tools for living a peaceful, meaningful life in this chaotic modern world. Remember, you are not broken. Your mind isn't your enemy. It just needs training. And that training starts with a single breath, a single moment, a single choice. The choice to come back to now. The choice to be free. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be kind to yourself, be patient with your mind, and remember, peace is always just one breath away.